And so, ladies and gentlemen, the CyberPowerPC Extreme Series 2017 returns with day number 2. We started this weekend off with 8 teams and only 4 remain, the 4 of which you see on screen. And first and foremost, we're going to be having OpTic Gaming versus Splyce, followed by Ghost Gaming versus Misfits. And then, of course, the big old grand finals, where one of these teams will be walking away with their chunk of $15,000. My name is Scrawny. This guy over here is Seaside, and we welcome you back to day number 2. We hope you're excited as we are.
I didn't sleep last night. I was that excited.
Is that because the game ran late, or just because of your excitement?
A little bit of both, to be honest. I mean, it was already Sunday. I'm like, well, I have to work today. I have to cast, so I might as well just stay up all night. And my pure excitement for this, pure excitement for the matches, pure excitement for the giveaways, and pure excitement for the predictions, because you viewers actually get to become pretty much part of the analyst desk. We're gonna have like a 2,000 viewer audience analyst desk, and you guys can predict some stuff. The link for that is pretty much, you can see it in chat actually. Nightbot linked it. Thank you, Nightbot. It's right there. Use the prediction link in chat. If you click that, get your chance to win some gears. We jump right into vetoes. Now, OpTic Gaming Splyce, as Scrawny mentioned, OpTic probably one of the favorites to take this whole tournament, while Splyce, again, in another underdog kind of situation here. Granted, the complexity match went a bit closer than what we thought it would.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Complexity just come out swinging on their first map versus Splyce and take a convincing victory off of Train. We then saw Splyce have a fantastic first half on Inferno, where Complexity almost brought it back on the second, just to ultimately lose. And then, of course, the third map from Splyce was just a sealed deal. So they definitely look better towards the later portion of the series, and then we can argue again that OpTic, while they are certainly going to be the favorites coming into the entirety of this event, they showed a bit of weakness yesterday. I mean, they played arguably the weakest team in the tournament in the form of CLG Academy, a Premier Division team for the ESEA Mountain Dew League, and they gave up 11 rounds on Nuke, which was the map that OpTic actually ended up choosing. So again, we have to consider that OpTic have gone through these very recent and arguably unexpected roster changes. Jason R, who is playing for the in-game leadership for quite some time now, decides that he wants to return to the streaming lifestyle, and that leaves them with Hazed as their new 5th. Of course, Hazed was the coach for the team, so he's going to be familiar with the system, familiar with the roles, but maybe not so much playing the actual game. Either way, OpTic in their second map still clean it out. I think they give up 4 rounds in that one. They bounce back and play as expected, but this time they've gone not with the Nuke pick, but rather with Mirage.
And a map that both teams, are probably content with. I think there's not too many NA teams that don't mind Mirage. Looking at the recently played, for example, for Splyce, the last time they played Mirage recorded on HLTV was ESL 1 Cologne. I believe that was the online qualifiers. They lost to Misfit 16-12 there. Before that, they played Big 16-12 again. So they are a little bit formidable on this map, although they did lose to Onage in a qualifier 16-6. Now, who's Onage, you may ask? No one really remembers. So that's another qualifier. So it is online. It is Mirage. But it's a map that OpTic seemed pretty comfortable on, because if you look at recent results on Mirage for them, you're looking at kind of like they played Energy and they won 16-4 on Mirage. That was the ECS North America. More recent, a little later than that, they played North on LAN, or 16-14. So they are very competent when it comes to Mirage, and Cobble being a picked up from Splyce. Now that's a OpTic map as well. That is a map that OpTic are very comfortable on. They've even played that more recently than any other map, looking down the list of maps recently played. It's pretty much been Nuke, Cache, and mainly Cobblestone for OpTic lately. And that may be a comfort pick for Splyce, but I think this map pool is pretty comfortable for OpTic, because Overpass is almost like a pocket little map for them as well. They're not terrible on it, but I think just the firepower they have is going to just push Splyce to the limit here.
Yeah, based on these 3 map picks, I feel like Splyce, if they're going to win this series, which is a stretch of the imagination, they're definitely going to have to pick it up with the 2-0 fashion. I think that Overpass is certainly going to help out versus OpTic. And then again, you were just alluding to the recent play of OpTic on Mirage. When you hold a LAN or if you hold a LAN loss versus a team like North by only 1 round, you get a 14-16 scoreline versus a top Danish team. There's no argument there. OpTic, they know their map. However, again, it is a shifted roster. We are not going to be playing with Jason R, the recently replaced in-game leader. It is Hazed standing in, one James Cobb. of XCLG. So here we have the lineup of OpTic Gaming. This, of course, being statistics drawn from only their match yesterday. Yes, that's right. Isolated statistics, not over the last month, not over the last 3 months, but rather just their game against CLG Academy. So take these stats a little liberally, I'd say. Their opponents didn't really put up all too much of a fight. So I think it's for that reason we see that all of their efficacies are just into these mid-teens. We saw frags from everybody, really, and kill counts were high all across the scoreboard. Even Hayes bringing up the rear with an 80.6 ADR and a 1.31 KDR. So they didn't really have much of a test, and you could argue that actually leaves them in an awkward spot versus a team like Splyce, who I think can certainly step things up a notch.
There is upset potential, especially when it comes down to Splyce. I mean, you have Roka, who was starting to hit shots yesterday, Drone, that consistent kind of factor. Now, yesterday was a little rough for him, but I imagine he will turn up when need be. You always have Rix, that's kind of like their consistent fragger as well, mixed with Arya, and when he has the oppo and he's on, he's deadly with it. He honestly is. And then Semphis kind of being like the peacemaker when it comes to Arya and Semphis working together for the calls. I think you mentioned it yesterday, Arya is the one making the final calls, I believe. So
if I can interrupt you, Seaside, just because I don't want you to spread the lies I told you.
Oh, is it still Semphis?
So at the ESCA Mountain Dew League, which took place at the beginning of May, it was Arya calling with in-game leadership and Semphis on the op. Since then, because I spoke to Drone after their series last night, after the victory over Complexity, I was asking him, hey, we saw Arya picking up the op more often. What's going on here? Is it based on maps? Is there something going on with Corey? Does he not really feel it? And he actually told me that they have now reversed those roles again. Okay. So even though it's a little more classic of Splyce to have Semphis calling and Arya opping, we are back to that formula. So Semphis has forfeited the AWP. We should see him rifling through and through. Arya will be primary. And I believe, like we saw once on Cobble, Roka might pick up that secondary op. So there's a bit of transitioning within the roles of Splyce. Maybe not so severely as that of OpTic, considering they just fully lost a player and aren't just shuffling their positions or jobs. But there's a bit of ambiguity here for Splyce as well.
Okay, I like it when Semphis calls. I think he's a very good IGL, and he's Canadian, so I fanboy a little bit there. Canada produces some good IGLs. Not gonna lie, we got Daps, FNS, and Semphis. We're producing thinkers over here in Canada.
I mean, we have Stanislaw as well.
Stanislaw, yep.
We have FNS of CLG, who also has the support of I'm a Pet, a Canadian coach. Yep. I'm actually working. I don't want to sound kind of. I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but I'm thinking this is article worthy.
I think so.
A good old piece on Canadian in-game leadership and its place in NACS.
I think it's worth. I don't even without being Canadian, I think that's a fair thing to say, even if you're American, because they have some good IGLs, but Canada's got all the brains. So this is the head-to-head when it comes to oppers. You're gonna have Mixwell going up against Arya here. Mixwell, I think it's been said a few times where he's revered as one of the better oppers in North America. Yeah. So he's definitely up there. But he had that little period when he wasn't picking up the op. At one point, it was like a month he just didn't touch the op. He would barely use it in games. Maybe it was a comfort thing. Maybe he just wasn't feeling it. But lately he's been just back to that consistent form that Mixwell is known to bring to the table. And Arya, an old gun with the op. He's been around for a while. He's a bit of an older man when it comes to his fragging potential with it. But still, nonetheless, still deadly.
Yeah, a seasoned veteran.
That's a better way to put it.
To put it one way. So that's going to be the head-to-head op play. Again, we shall see if Mixwell can face off versus a stronger op presence of Splyce. But this is what Seaside was talking about earlier, guys. If you head on over to cyberpowerpc.cevo.com/predictions, plural, predictions, then you guys can you can participate in a little competition to predict the outcome of today's games, and you will be entered in your chance to win a Scorpion K1 RGB keyboard, mousepad, and jersey for first, and then a jersey keyboard combo for second, or just a sweet CyberPower jersey for third. So you can get yourself some fancy new swag, but of course you'll have to know your stuff. You can also head to cyberpowerpc.cevo.com/giveaway. And here, you can be talentless. You can be clueless, but still have an opportunity to win some free gear. We are going to be giving away a GTX 1070 video card, 3 blue 25 gig solid state drives, and then again an RGB mechanical board. So nothing to lose, and since we do still have a bit of time before the first map will go live, you've got nothing to lose by heading over again to cyberpowerpc.cevo.com/giveaway.
Unos dos tres. I learned that from Dora. She helps me a lot when it comes to my math. So I think we're going to take a quick little break, quick little breather before we jump into this match. So hold tight. OpTic Gaming versus Splyce. First BO3 of the day. Hang tight. We'll show you Mirage in a little bit. Happy Father's Day to the dads out there as we're going to jump into this BO3 of OpTic Gaming for Splyce. Now, I'm not a father. Scrawny might be. Who knows? As we're going to jump into this BO3, though. I'm pretty sure maybe one of these players are a dad. See, that's what I don't know. That's what I should have researched. Why didn't I spend my time wisely?
Yeah, nobody here is a father.
Probably not, no.
I feel like I'm older than half of them. So... unless I don't know something, but I'm pretty sure I do. It is 2 sets of full utility here for Splyce. Arya and Semphis going to carry the grenades, and the entirety of Splyce actually heading out towards that A site already, but they're not doing so aggressively. They are just sitting back towards Palace and starting to pry towards the site as Roka looks to lead the charge. Only a single defender here for the CT side, and that is the man back towards Ticket. It is Hazed, and he's able to grab the fadeaway headshot before falling to safety.
I like these smokes from Hayes. Now they're going to try to push in towards CT. Drone's taking a fight here. And just as the smokes fades, he'll cross back over to safety by triple rush. Going to push up with Hayes here to find Roka. This is a 3-man retake from CT and 1 player flanking Palace. And now there are just 2 Splyce members remaining as there are 5 OpTic Gaming members just swarming. As it's all on Arya, Ticket Booth shut down from Nafly, and a defuse will come through. And I actually have a little bit of info. Arya is a father.
Is he really?
He is. He has a little child, I believe.
Well, you said he was old.
Yeah.
Now that retake from OpTic was exactly what they had hoped for. To Splyce, I mean, they barrel into the A site. They were hoping for maybe a couple more kills so that the retake would only be maybe 3 or 2 players remaining. But because OpTic are not only able to fall back immediately, keep all 5 of their players alive, but also pick up that 1 frag to the 5v4, they were certainly favored on that retake. They held on to their utility. They had themselves the kit. They were ready to go. So Splyce get what they wanted, the bomb plant on the cards. But again, because no kills, it's a retake advantage for OpTic. They pick up their pistol, and they will invest straight into the rifles for the most part, barring Mixwell, who hangs on to a single ump. Splyce coming into this with the double smoke setup, 4 P250s, and what looks like a quick execution towards B.
Smoke over towards Get Right Pillar Rush. He's holding a nade in his hand. And as soon as Tark spots someone, this nade's going to be chunky with no armor. In comes the nade and the spray from Tark. It should be good as the nade will clean up 2. Tark's going to re-peek in a second. And it should just be an easy cleaning as Semphis will get 1 for the road and Mixel quick for the flank. OpTic Gaming are good for 2 rounds. Pick up the FAMAS. No money lost. Even a little bit gained as that will be a 2-0 start now for OpTic. As the buy will come out from Splyce. So that's what the first round bomb plan allows you to do is get these AKs out. They're going to be extremely light on utility. And you know what? I could have argued them going for a half buy here just to save this utility because now they can't really afford to do a default, right? They're kind of pretty much going to have to commit to a site almost.
Yeah, luckily they are on Mirage, so there are some standard plays that they only need 1 or 2, and they do seem to go for this as they smoke off the top of mid, push 3 players through apps, and 2 of which down underpass. So going for that late mid control off of Semphis's upper hold. Again, the smoke grenade would have allowed him to cross, but instead he holds further back. Drone coming out from underpass now, as the T side are down to a single smoke and the 3 flashbangs, but they've got mid control in their pocket.
Looks like they just boosted someone there, actually. So they're going to be... yeah, they boosted to clear catwalk. They spot out Mixwell, who will get to the safety of jungle, but it looks like he wants to re-peek into this one. As he is going to swing, finds 1. The double spray is good, but an immediate trade from Roko, who's got 2 entries now. Found the player on site, cleaned up Mixwell, but there is a quick flank coming in from OpTic Gaming. That's Tark from catwalk. Again, traded from Roka. He's been the trader from here on out, but he is tagged down to 18 for his troubles. Look at Arya being very sneaky as he gets down on Nafly, finds the drop. Now, the only trouble is getting Roka out of this kind of tight corner he's in right now.
Yeah, but Tarek's not going to read it. Tarek's just going to keep walking in. He sees Arya. Arya baits him in, and Roka finds the 4K. Fantastic round from Splyce. They worked with exactly what they were able to afford. There's a lot of times, as you kind of alluded to, where you can criticize the early AK buy. Not only is it predictable nowadays, but it is also lackluster in the form of utilities. So they make that work by just taking the underpass to the bottom of mid. And Roka could have tried to get to the bomb site, and had he maybe got caught from Tarek's creep up cat, then that would have been the problem. But Roka patiently waits and lets Arya set up the play. Great stuff from him, and a quick round for Splyce.
Yeah, Tark just gonna shoulder peek this one out. I mean, he has a Zeus, so he's kind of banking on someone from Splyce, not mollying this, not nading it, not going through the proper anti-eco strats / planning. As Arya, good top mid smoke to cover him here. Tark still just gonna sit here. I think we really want to see him get a Zeus. He's just going to sit, very content to wait it out as Splyce. Get a little bit of mid-pressure. Semphis is rotating back over here, so it looks like they're not going to do as much diligence. Oh my goodness, that word is difficult. As you normally do on eco-rounds, and Tark gets caught crossing. Peeks for some kind of info. OpTic Gaming didn't really have much across the map other than a connector stack. So this is an open site for Splyce, but Arya, his life is a bit, it's kind of in danger.
Yeah, he gets overwhelmed by Mixwell. So a Galil in the hands of OpTic. Still 4 players up at this point. They are closer towards the bomb site. Just trying to, at the very least, keep Splyce from exiting with ease. Rush has a one-and-done angle, and then 2 players from OpTic are over towards the apps. So no matter where Splyce go, they're going to make contact versus at least 1 player from OpTic. It's just going to be a question of can they punch their way out.
Well, Semphis is going to try. Rix knows Rush is close nearby, and, well, 5-7 will come out on top. Rush makes out like a madman. Gets out with a good gun in his hand as a Gush comes through on Drone. Now, that dink, although Drone may get the nade kill, that dink made Drone die. So the dink through the wood and the bomb cleaned it up. So all in all, great damage dealt from OpTic Gaming for what they had. A couple P250s, mainly silenced USPs. And they deal significant damage to Splyce's economy, force out those rebuys. Funny enough, Semphis actually picks up the Zeus, as OpTic Gaming will be the first ones to put an op out on the board, though. That's going to be in Tark's hands, interestingly enough. Now, this may be a spawn-based thing, but it looks like Mixwell's going mid-window anyway with the Galil, so an interesting choice. Yeah, if he has the op there, that's a kill, right?
Arguably, yep. Could have been. Weird to see the op go for that apps presence early, but then again, Splyce did hit that bomb site just the round prior, so Tarek's going to be trying to rely on the opening pick. He finds nothing. There's no presence there from Splyce whatsoever. They've gone back to their pistol round setup where 3 players play in from Palace. Those 2 other guys were at the top of mid, but they've now fallen back through T-spawn and come to join forces with the players near site. Now, last time Splyce tried to overwhelm the A site like this kind of standard quick play, it was only defended back by Ticket. This time around, Hazed is committed to the back of the firebox, and he's going to have support from Naf off of the staircase. Smoke now fades. Could create an opener, but Naf is going to spot targets as Drone trades it after 1. That's Hazed from the corner removed as Roka with another. It's going to be an attempted bomb plant as Rush rotates through CT spawn, but Arya goes jumping through the smoke. That leaves Roka exposed, but Rick's able to take another. It is a 2v2 retake for OpTic.
Roka's so in the open here on the backside of the triple. Now he's trying to get himself in a better position. Spotted from Tark. Nice kill with the Galil as it's all on Rick's 56 HP. Spots 1. They line up for him, but can't transition the spray to Tark, who will pick up the op and get the defuse. OpTic Gaming. A little bit of missteps from Splyce, perhaps like jumping through the smoke, getting stuck on an awkward side of triple. And then Rick's just gets double peeked from jungle. And OpTic Gaming will be up 1 round now. The op gets received, so that's money saved. Splyce Gaming, bomb planted. They'll have some cash, 1 round loss. It looks like they're going to go in on this, although they'll get 4 AKs if Rix goes in for just armor flash. Yep, UMP on drone, so nothing too crazy there. All in all, not very reminiscent of their first buy, just 1 AK list. And they actually have a bit more utility in this round than they did on the first buy, so.
Yeah, but at the same time, their opponents now have the double op setup. Mixwell towards A, Tarek elsewhere. That's where Mixwell is able to grab the opening kill. So that was the difference maker, and it pays off already. Semphis has aggressively got himself to the top of Tetris, and Nafly's only got the MP9 here, so he could be the weaker link. Mixwell's nade dunks onto the head of Drone, so he gets taken off as Nafly gets up close. Mixwell zings another shot down range, and Rix is all that remains. Cowering to the side of ramp in a 1 versus 5. This one's over. OpTic dodging the buy here from Splyce and forcing them back down to pistols.
Mixwell gets a 3K. Splyce, knowing they don't have too much utility. This time, instead of going for that mid-presence like they did in the first rifle round when they were very low in the pockets, this time they go for a quick play out A ramp. They even had a couple spawns for it, but you're never going to beat the player getting to CT with the op. He just posted up. First one was easy, 2 more run out, and his teammate just counter-flashing, counter-nades, and Mixwell even gets a dunk kill as well. So the op towards Ticket is just so hard to clear without having too much utility, without having any presence. Palace. It was a very one-sided attack from Splyce, and it will get cheese grated, just like it should have. As OpTic Gaming go up 4-2, now Splyce is going to have to sit on Glocks. That's only 2-round loss. and they spent all their bank in the previous round. So it's going to be a little bit until Rifles and even an Op may come out from Splyce. So all in all, not the worst start from OpTic. They get the double ops out early. They have a 2-round lead, and the T's economy is starting to fall apart at the seams.
Tarek's going to look for that aggressive angle yet again. Does spot targets and lines up two. That's drone down for the count, and Roka tagged to 13 points of health. Nafly finding Semphis is really starting to put the nail in the coffin. Tarek barely gets out of that position, but still has 11 health to hang on to. Rush still holding the cross with his M4, is about to see Arya, but Arya gets sectioned off thanks to the utility, and the T-side are left just scratching their heads. They try to head down to underpass, and that's where Nafly lies in wait. He springs the trap with a third frag as well. That's 4 for him on the round.
5-2. And that's a 4K, you're right, from Nafly. And they've started to build up a nice little bank themselves, which is critical on the CT side if you want to have a good start to the match and the map. As it is going to be a buy from Splyce. Again, light in the pockets. No op. Smokes for 4 of them. Roka just a flash. So they'll have 4 flashes, 4 smokes to work with. And the double ops from OpTic is really yet to have an answer from Splyce. It's kind of just free reign for Mixwell and Tarek. Very unanswered, as Mixwell will get a leg out of drone. And a double catwalk presence here from OpTic. So Rush is going to push down first, get himself in ladder room. We'll have support from Nafly. So as soon as Naf makes contact, you think Rush would have swung, but that's just a one-tap from drone as he gets into connector. Now Rush is kind of put in a rough spot. He has no support in the situation, but he catches Rick sleeping, finds a second as well, as Arya may find Hayes, but Mixwell is still living. And they're actually coming through the smoke. Easy shots for Mixwell. A nice one on Roka, as Semphis is the last one remaining, finds both catwalk players, and now this round gets interesting. How it turns around so quickly, thanks for Semphis. And now it comes down to what Mixwell wants to do, and it looks like he's going to elect to hold the snacks angle. I like it.
Oh, the snacks angle. This is so sick. To see this already being replicated by another team. The first time I saw it was with that clutch, but Mixwell gives up the angle. Semphis is going to charge up the staircase. This would be a 1v3, but Mixwell finds the shot. And that op just raining hellfire onto Splyce. 3 frags from Mixwell thanks to that. He's already kicking this game off with the 12-3 scoreline and really sealing the deal here versus Splyce. Rapid aggression for Splyce in that round. They head to the top of mid. They just start to close the distance towards connector. And that was a great headshot from drone to find the 5v4. But then Rush, he is a key factor in that one as he comes out from the side of ladder, takes 2 players, and kind of sidelines the attack there from Splyce. They didn't see him coming, nor did they see Mixwell on the site hitting shots like that. Wallbang frag from Rush to just add salt to the wounds. Tarek's looking for an aggressive peek as well. Splyce to the 4v5. They've got some nades, but they're already figured out. Tarek's got their number.
Well, he may get caught here, though. Down to 18. Throws off Molly while he falls. He won't get to safety. Rix will shut him down. Now just Rush. Calling for rotation. He needs some help. Gushed up onto the pistol, but Semphis will finally put him down. So that's the site empty. Semphis will pick up at M4. He has armor behind it, but still 1 bullet to his head, and he's gone with no head armor. And Mixwell, that smoke works beautifully for Semphis. Allows him to isolate Mixwell. The op won't go to work because Semphis narrows this down to a 1v2. And he has a minute on the clock, has a molly, but the catwalk presence and peek from Nafly will shut him down 7-2. OpTic Gaming looking very strong on their site holds. If Splyce get a clean entry there, if Tark falls without getting the molly out, falls without getting aggressive and gets a pick, Splyce will just start to snowball there, and that round will go their way. But OpTic Gaming are doing a nice job in the holds, where every player in the site is getting 1 or more kills when it comes to the holds, and that's what you love to see as a CT player.
I think that Splyce need to find a response to this double op setup. This is now multiple rounds where either Tarek, Mixwell, or both have found kills with those guns. It's Tarek who's actually going to assume the mid control. This is normally where we saw Mixwell play his op, but Mixwell's over at A. So a heavy A site setup early on with 3 players committed and Rush solo B. Tarek finding 1 player as Splyce push up from catwalk, but Tarek now joins forces over towards the site where Rush is getting work done. Arya trying to swing back towards the bomb's gone down. Tarek dropped thanks to Roka, but this would be a 1v4 and he's already found out. There's a player behind him towards site. He gets pegged down by damage and Nafly takes the frag. Again, OpTic just holding time after time.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. The holds, the players on site are just free reign. They're not too hampered by any utility from Splyce. They're able to get themselves multiple frags before they go down. And it's just Splyce's trades aren't really there. Their spacing may be a little off. Maybe it just comes down to the utility that these buys are just not giving them. We haven't really seen an op bot out from Arya, and he's actually going to go for a CZ while he has $1,900 and everyone else on his team is going to buy. Yes, they have max loss. The reason of doing this, he's going to be trying to get the op out this half. So he's going to be saving for that op. His teammates will go for the rifles. Again, a light buy, light utility. And that seems to be kind of the story of this game. Splyce haven't really found themselves. The trades haven't been there. The holds from OpTic Gaming have been on point. And the rotations really haven't been hampered. It's just been pretty much OpTic Gaming taking parts of the map that they want, just like here, where Mixwell's going to peek down in towards Semphis, and he'll spot him. Can't find the frag, but that's info. That's map control for the CTs now, as they're just going to keep Splyce at bay.
Ooh, Semphis caught off guard by the boost. Heads up play from Rush. They know that he's stealth down there and they exploit it, but Mixwell gets traded back by Roka, who is also in the underpass. Roka continues his onslaught through connector, and he's actually going to push towards the site. That's Hayes to the opposite side of the boxes, but Roka doesn't see him. And Roka's going to continue to creep through the jungle as drone comes out ramp. Now again, timing works to the best of Hayes, and he's able to keep this site held as Roka takes the duel. Roka goes down. Hayes finds another frag, and it is just Arya standing. 1 versus 3 with a bomb on his back, 30 seconds on the clock, and an avenue up catwalk. He could arguably at least get closer to the B site. Hayes from afar is going to get swindled down to 24 points of health. Still just desperately trying to make something happen is Arya. Rush takes the duel and he wins it. That's 2 frags for him, 2 frags for Hayes, and another round for OpTic.
Just easy holds from OpTic Gaming. You can see they're pushing for info with CTs. They're not really contested when it comes to mid control. The B apps peaks, they go for them pretty willy-nilly. And it comes down to the players on site not being really... just having a really easy time when it comes to the side holes. There's not too many smokes, there's not too many flashes from Splyce. It just seems very easy for OpTic to hold these, just hold the sites. And even mid control is easily contested from OpTic Gaming. Once on Blue Moon, they'll put 2 players towards Cat, they'll throw an op in mid window, they'll contest it early, try to get the picks, if not, get the info. Been very clinical from OpTic Gaming when it comes to their control across the map. Splyce, however, I haven't really seen a full buy this game for them. They've been very adamant on buying when they can afford AKs, and then they get just very low utility. Like, this is going to be another round where Semphis has already bought. Rix and Drone are going to be on UMPs. Arya saves for the op, but he's glass cannon. And it's kind of been the story of this half, I think.
Yeah, I'd like to see a bit more kind of standard A-site execution. Everybody should be able to do those 3 standard smoke grenades from the outside of ramp. You block off CT spawn, the jungle, and the staircase, and then that allows for you to kind of isolate the oppers. So, funny enough, this is exactly what Splyce are going to go for. I think they've used this pause to recognize that the op presence all across the map is just a little too much to deal with right now. So, block off the oppers. Force the players who are on the A site to just try and hold the line. And right now, none of these smoke grenades will actually affect either Hazed or Naf. They're going to be on the inside of the wall. Unless Hayes does fall further back, and that leaves Nafly isolated. A potential 4v5. But the Molotov from the player coming in from jungle blocks off Semphis, and Mixwell could catch them. Ooh. They're not going to see this. Naf has yet to reveal himself as Mixwell finds the headshot. Naf comes out. Naf takes one. Semphis tries to trade, but it's Hayes who takes the kill. Roka, meanwhile, is still standing, and this is a 2v3 for Splyce. They've got the bomb across to the site itself, and Arya finds a headshot, but can they hold on? Can they win this round now that it's down to the 2v2?
Russian jungle tag down from Roka, who's tagged himself to 11. Is that Molly's going to force Rush forward? Arya's posted towards CT by triple. And the bomb's starting to tick away. Roka's going to tuck in towards a ramp. He kind of has to be peeking first as Arya gets spotted. And he actually gets tanked for the box down to 25. He has to be so careful how he plays this one out. Spray's coming through. Arya gets baited into the peak, and now it is just Roka alone towards a ramp. Rush knows it, and Rush will find them both. OpTic Gaming get to double digits. Now that is $800 more to Splyce's next buy. It will be a hefty one. Rix can even drop the op over, so that's not a worry. They'll get that out. They'll get AKs, and they'll actually get some utility. As the double ops from OpTic, though, you're right, still are able to do some damage. Mixwell's been playing extremely well with it, and even Tark, to my surprise, have been doing a nice job with the op around the map.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen him opping like this really for quite some time. Very refreshing. I mean, we've seen a rise of the double op setup on CT sides. I think most notably, we really kind of saw it come to form with G2 between Kenny S and Shocks. They've had some crazy CT halves with that double op, most notably on Inferno, I'd say. But here comes Tarek with Mixwell by his side. Again, double op frag to kick things off. OpTic just doing very good work versus Splyce. Another Molotov keeps them here, and as they sit stagnant, they continue to fall. Rix grabbing 2 kills, and a third is going to then drop to the op of Mixwell. So nice individual attempt. He does deal some damage, but at an 11-2 score, Seaside, damage is not enough.
Definitely not enough. You're on round 14. You're down 11-2. At this point, you're going to be buying. It's kind of too late to be like, all right, we're going to be saving for that up. And it's another one of these buys where you see a couple Galils, attack 9, sprinkled with random utility in and out. But it's almost a little too late as it's 11-2. Hayes is even going to get aggressive here. No fear, as OpTic Gaming are feeling very comfortable, very confident across the map. As these double ops continue to just kind of tail the tape, have free reign. As Semphis is tagged down to 20, full blind, gonna get spotted, sent back out a ramp, so they gain really nothing for that peak, other than Semphis sent down to 20 HP, as Splyce are trying to work across the map, but to no avail right now, as Tark's about to spot this.
Again, just op presence over and over. OpTic wrecking Splyce at this point. Unfortunately, there's no prettier way to put it. Mixwell's still up close as we do have drone coming out from Tetris, but Mixwell spots the players towards connector. Hayes deals with the threat at A, and Mixwell and Naf now finding op kills aplenty. So OpTic Gaming continue on this spree, and this is a now 10-point lead.
Well, even the triple op. If they can't shut down 1, they can't shut down 2. Why not go for the 3rd? They can't shut down that, and especially with this final buy of Splyce. Again, a couple Galils. Semphis has no utility, and that's been a big tail of the tape, right? It's just utility, buys, just getting shut down on these holds. Splyce's default not netting them anything. It's been pretty smooth sailing for OpTic. Another opening frag for them from Nafly, as there will be a flash, but he's able to fall, and this time he has support from Rush in sight. And they keep switching up the angles where they hold. Now, Rix may kill drone here, so consider Rush getting 1 frag there. Baroka will shut it down. Mixwell's quick to rotate. A good molly in. It will start to spread as he has to jump out of danger. So a 3v3 retake, but a double up on B. This may become a problem.
Ooh, nice nade from Mixwell. Roka gets down to 6. Flashbang rains out, so utility back and forth here. Roka takes a fight, and it costs him. That's Mixwell standing on 20 HP, allows for Rix to trade it back, and he goes for furthermore. But Hayes coming out from the marketplace is the next to fall, and Tarek trades it back. That's OpTic with a 13-2 half and a clear assertion on this map. I mean, goodness gracious. That was hard to watch.
Yeah, from the rotations, from the holds, to the mid control, to knowing when to push a ramp, knowing when to peek mid for info, knowing when to challenge underpass, utility usage, everything was just good from OpTic Gaming. Everything was comfortable. There's really nothing hampering them. Splyce's buys were never really that strong, never really challenged what OpTic had going on the table. The ops, as I said, had free reign, had everything going for them. So it was a very clean CT half. Now, you're going to have to imagine Splyce going to have to bring that and then some to the CT half now. As OpTic Gaming, with such a big round lead on the T half, they're just going to be running around just almost pugging on you. They're just going to take every duel they can. They're going to challenge as much as they really want across the map, knowing they have such a big cushion to really sit on right now.
And here we are. Second half set to begin. So I think while it is always a cliche, it is safe to say that the pistol is important at this point. Splyce absolutely need it. I mean, if they don't get this pistol round, we might not even see rifles out of them at this point. We won't, actually. That's not a maybe. We just won't. So they are certainly backs against the wall, but a caged animal is a dangerous thing, Seaside.
You never want to mess with any kind of caged animal. So Mixwell swings the corner. Well, looks like they're no longer caged. They're put them down. They even clear the cheeky little boost in sight just in case. Splyce are going to try to pull out all the stops. Mixwell gets spotted as he pushes into market. A safe fallback with that smoke. And this pistol round's looking very convincing It's going to take some nice one-taps from the side of Splyce to really bring this back. Now, that's 2 quick ones. Rush will be able to keep this Catwalk player at bay, as they are spotting for BF as well. Rush has to be careful. Great peek to find Roka. Drone working in from Market Door, as Arya will get taken down from Mixwell. Now, this is almost too much to ask. OpTic are going to almost have to take all these peeks individually, and they will double peek them and shut it down. 14 for OpTic. A force buy from Splyce. You're looking at 15, perhaps, because they're going to buy up AKs, Galils, maybe a UMP to farm, perhaps. But I imagine, from what I've seen from them, they actually like the MAC-10s a bit more. So who knows? So a double scout from Splyce, upgraded pistols. This is a quick game to start the day off.
Got Roka having one of those scouts at the A site, Arya the other towards mid. So again, Semphis not going to be picking up a scoped weapon, but this could be the next double op setup from Splyce. Arya has dwindled 2 players down. That's Rush and Tarek sitting in the 30s. Still plentiful utility for OpTic to play off of, not to mention gun advantage. But they just need to avoid those scouts. They know that one was in mid, and the problem there is that that player can float to either of the bomb sites. Whether or not they predict a second scout over towards A will be a whole other question. But Mixwell is going to be leading the charge for his team towards this bomb site. He does have 3 players behind him, his AK out in front. Hazed, meanwhile, over towards the B site. He's hanging on to all of the utility for OpTic, barring flashbangs. He uses the Molotov to just burn off the close corners and now tries to sell a fake. We are seeing a bit of a rotation here from Arya himself, so that's one of the scouts removed. Hazed finding Semphis could push this further into the fake for OpTic, but Roka hitting a headshot onto Mixwell finds at least something to play with. Nafly and Hazed finding another quick 2 kills, leaves it to the 2v4. Drone's gone down, and this goes from bad to worse.
Yeah, they're going to try to find Rix. Looks like he's just in market right now. Going to start to work his way in towards the window. And Rix will go down from Hayes, 15-2. And Splyce's buy here is... It's going to be as much as they can get, but it is just going to be pistols. They can't even get a UMP on the board. I mean, it's almost that bad. So we'll see upgraded pistols. Very small utility. A scout out from Arya. And I think it's almost safe to say this is going to be something to kind of already throw it over the under the carpet. Splyce just haven't had anything going for them once this game. Cobblestone may be their best map, but OpTic Gaming love Cobblestone as well. And the way OpTic are playing right now, you have to think that's going to carry into Cobble.
Drone's at least going to kick this off with an opening frag, but Mixwell through the corner of the wall takes one to his name. Rix trading it back as Rush entries in from Connector, and Rush will find another. So man advantage taken aback thanks to the Deeg of Roka, but Roka's just been painted into the corner at this point. He's relying on Semphis to come bail him out. Tarek has a nade in hand, so he could get caught, but Naf takes Roka off of the site, and that's done and dusted. 16-2, the score here on Mirage, an incredibly fast first map.
Yeah, incredibly fast is definitely a way to summarize that. If you look at the scoreboard there, OpTic Gaming, just everyone's playing well. They weren't really challenged that often. Double ops kind of had free reign. Splyce's buys on the T side, kind of what made that match for them. They never really got a good, comfortable buy. Arya had the op once or twice, I think. And the one time it was glass cannon, barely any utility. And there wasn't a lot of support because the buys they got, there wasn't a lot of utility. Their default never netted anything. The executions were just shut down from OpTic. The players in the sites were doing a superb job, and the rotations were not hampered. They were on point, and we didn't see too much from Splyce on their T side, and that ultimately made it an easy CT side from OpTic. And now as we jump on to Cobblestone, I really I'm not feeling too optimistic for Splyce.
I mean, I have more faith. If we look at Cobblestone as just kind of an isolated variable, I think that it's fair to say Splyce will be a little bit more competitive there than on Mirage.
Yeah.
And obviously that being their map pick would make sense. However, you take into consideration, that the outcome of that Mirage game was so lopsided that OpTic just so confidently played their half, like Splyce weren't even on the server. Then suddenly things become in question, and I too am scared. Either way, that map is going to be coming up in a brief moment of time. We're just going to give players an opportunity to reset themselves. And while they do that, I suggest you guys spend your time wisely. It is, of course, of the essence. So head on over to cyberpowerpc.sevo.com/giveaway. And you guys can enter into your chance to win either a GTX 1070 video card, one of 3 250 gigabyte solid state drives, or a V760 mechanical keyboard. All free of charge. Just head on over. While you guys are spending your time intelligently, you can also replace the giveaway with predictions. And what that allows you guys to do is to take part in our contest this weekend of predicting the scores of these matches, and that has a whole other set of prizes, including CyberPowerPC jerseys and the likes. So again, that is cyberpowerpc.cevo.com/giveaway and /predictions. We're going to leave that on screen so you guys can head on over. We're going to take a brief break, and we'll be back with map number 2 between OpTic and Splyce.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Everyone's in the server, 10 out of 10. Map number 2 is Cobblestone. Maybe more of a comfort for Splyce. It is apparently their favorite map, but OpTic Gaming, you know, a map they're not too scared of either. So we'll see if Splyce can turn up here.
Yeah, I mean, you just brought these recent victories up, actually, from OpTic. They hold 2 recent wins on Cobblestone. Of course, one of those being versus NRG in a 16-10, but then more notably versus Navi 16-8. So again, this is one of those situations where it's like, we just watched OpTic lose 14-16 versus North, a international contender. Here is a victorious one-sided game versus another top international lineup. So it was fair coming into this tournament to say that OpTic had the upper hand, that they were kind of just a class above everybody else, and they assert themselves on Mirage. That was quite incredibly clear. Can they do it on the second map? Will Splyce put up a bit of a struggle? The pistol round's about to get started, so we shall find out. Splyce to the T side, OpTic on the defense, and already Nafly's getting gunned down.
He is tucked tail and he has run out of there. He does not want to get chased from these Glocks. He's going to put as much distance between him and those Glocks as humanly possible. As Arya still has a flash and a smoke with a P250 in his hand. So Splyce show presence towards A, immediately fall back. Now if they take, they're going to take some time here to run back over towards the B site. So depending on how much time they take in these movements as a group, OpTic Gaming may get a little antsy and either push something or over-rotate a player. But look at Rush's pushed up position. So they're content to keep 3 towards A.
Rush is so aggressively peeked up here, though. He's just cowering in the corner. And if Arya nor Rix check this... Ooh. Tempting. He's going to start to line them up. He executes the first. Rix left whipping back will lose his head as well. That's Tarek and Hayes with the 3rd and the 4th, and Hayes will take the 5th. Rapid pistol round from OpTic. Splyce walk right into that one.
And that's so unpredictable when you're on Splyce, but that's what happens when you don't leave a player towards B to keep presence, make sure that push doesn't come down. Because when CTs are starved for info, like that took so long for Splyce to walk back towards B after they pushed A. A CT had to make a play elsewhere across the map. They're starved for info. They want to know what's going on. And pushing Rush up to that corner is such a unique play from OpTic Gaming. And now that, yes, that should have got cleared by Splyce, but it's such a good play as now it is going to be a win for OpTic, but all of a sudden this transitions as the Tech-9s pick up a UMP. They have a smoke for connector. They've isolated Hayes alone towards A here, and he is alone. So he's going to get one. He has support from Rush, and he will go down, but Rush is still doing work, but so is Semphis with his deagle as he brings it down to at least just Rix alone. But he's been a little sneaky here. So a good hold from OpTic, but Rix has got to put on the sneaky shoes.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get himself back towards the B site, so Tarek is aware of this, trying to get ahead of the bomb plant. Rix could just ensure the cash by punching in the digits, and he does. Tarek's going to be able to swing out, so he knows where this has to be planted, but can Rix cower back into drop before he is found out? No, he does get spotted from behind. That's down to 79 points of health. If he can take the fight versus Naf, then maybe the 1v1, he would have picked up the M4 and would have been ever so deadly. But Nafly knows exactly where he is, and he finds himself the kill. So OpTic Gaming, despite losing 3 players, are able to convert this point to a second. That's exactly what they'd hoped for, although I'm sure they would have liked to keep a couple more guns.
Yeah, a couple more wouldn't hurt. I think they lost a FAMAS there, a couple SMGs. But Splyce did, at least Rix in particular, did a nice job of being sneaky and getting out of there. Semphis on 2 towards A. So all in all, not too bad from Splyce. And smart play from Rix to be very sneaky. Push all the way through connector, get at least a bomb planted for Splyce. So their first rifle round is going to be very utility heavy. It's going to be a full buy. We may see some pistols butt up here. Arya's not going to probably put a penny in, and it looks like they're taking their time leaving spawn. So they're talking about what they'd like to do. So we will see some pistols butt up. So a couple upgraded pistols, but it looks like they're not going to put too much pressure on OpTic into this round, knowing their next buy is going to be nice and comfortable.
Mixwell on that fast flank already, so the entirety of Splyce have been boxed in, but they're waiting for this. And so Rix grabs himself the headshot. Heads up play, catching the flank, and that leaves OpTic with a bit less information. So it's going to be up to Hayes now to rotate towards the bottom of the A site. He's going to be trying to keep an eye towards Splyce. They could always rotate back into this. They have no idea what's going on in long, but that's Rush with a hell of a grenade onto Arya, and at least the 4v4 back for OpTic.
And they'd hit him in the face and then exploded. Now, Roka may have the MP9, but that's probably... That thing doesn't do too much, especially against players with head armor. And based on Hayes' positioning, the MP9 at long range is not the best. So Hayes is just going to keep shoulder peeking mid, keep peeking towards long. As soon as he spots someone, we could see him do one of two things. Push out a door or run all the way back towards balcony and jump out. Now it looks like he's going to go for the nade. Gushed up Arnie, down to 14. Going to get a flash off. His nade may find a second kill, but he has no HP to really face this.
Gets the headshot through the edge of the door. Hayes still controls this bomb, so that's a really tough spot for Splyce to find themselves in. 25 seconds remaining as well. Semphis down to 7 points of health as Nafly continues to spam. Rush is actually inside the cubby, so Drone is done for, and that leaves Semphis as well, also dead. OpTic find the pistol, and they convert towards 3, exactly what we'd expect. At least this time around, they keep 4 players alive, so that's going to really help their cash flow.
So that was a 100 HP nade apparently onto Rix. Rarely do you see those. And what I found odd about that is how Roka crossed all by himself into the firing range. The bomb just, unluckily, how it got thrown in towards Nerd Room. So, clean 3-0. Opts out from Arya. Gets head armor behind it. And a strong buyer from Splyce. Full utility on everyone who has a rifle. As OpTic Gaming will get the op out of Mixwell themselves. Now, they're not going to go for the double op too early. They're content to keep Hayes out on the FAMAS. As Roka will get naded down to 43. The nades from OpTic Gaming so far have been on point. They're hitting 3-pointers across the map.
Not wanting to give up anything for free is Splyce. Another delayed grenade goes in. Not going to do nearly as much damage this time around. Nafly getting a little bit aggressive here for OpTic towards the platform. He does have the support of Tarek, and now that the Molotovs have faded, that was a nice bit of utility that could have been used for the forward positioning, but Nafly is ever so wary of the drop down, and for good reason, seeing as Semphis has now come down into it. Rush jumping next to the windowsill is yet to see this out. That's Drone to get the kill over towards long A. Nafly is going to be trying to play for some control, and Rix will pop him. Now that's another kill on the drop down as Rix doubles down. Bomb still towards the back of Museum, leaves Splyce in a fantastic spot. They don't need to commit to anything as of yet, but when they choose to, both sites are open.
Yeah, Tarek's just going to play here by lane. He'll spot Semphis, gets a clean kill on him, is ready for Roka to be pushing towards Plant, but gets caught out. As now the push is going to come in, and Mixwell's going to try to get out of here and save the op on 16 HP. Can't hold the cross, won't try to deny the plant. Splyce will keep 4 members up, which is critical right now in the first rough round for them. They'll start to build up that cash. Mixwell would love to try to save, and I don't think Splyce are going to go hunting. Maybe as a little bit of a pack, but I think they're going to let Mixwell be. Hold on to as many rifles as they can, but that's a clean one from Splyce to get the ball rolling at least.
Hopefully Mixwell can hang on to this. No one really seems to be going for the hunt. So Splyce, first gun round, get themselves a round onto the board, and they themselves keep 4 players standing. So this is fantastic. This is already kind of an early breath of life for Splyce. So far as they avoid that hard reset, that could really kill them. Because again, we didn't get to see much of their T side on Mirage. They start off on the CT side, they do very, very little, and then by the time they switch over, the game is already done. So it'll be really cool to see if OpTic can just hold back whatever pace and whatever execution Splyce throw their way. Because they're on the T side, this is their game to dictate. Unless OpTic decide to really kind of get aggressive and clash. But this is a map, Cobblestone, that's very hard to do that. You've got, very limited options as to what you can do aggressively as a CT. You can either try to force the fight towards the B site plat, you can counter boost drop, or go for an aggressive push out of 2 very tight angles on this outer A site. It leaves OpTic very much on bomb sites and forced to just use rotations, and Splyce are going to be looking to control those rotations and really play their own game. With that opening gun round, they've done a good job. Mixwell gets aggressive, so some initiative being taken, but it doesn't net them a frag, and he has fallen back already.
Mixwell this time going to be playing Hayes' position where he shoulder peeks. This time he's just going to move to APC though. Holding towards long with the op. Roka's going to try to gain this part of the map. Flashes over for Arya to take the peek. Good support for the opper. Gives room for Arya to take the comfortable peek. Mixwell though still posted up on this. Very comfortable with this angle. He has help from Hayes on A's site. And Mixwell's just going to sit here and wait it out. A molly. Greatly timed. Little does he know. That sends Splyce scurrying back a little bit. He's going to be holding towards mid. Now, the bomb is still towards T-Apps. It is going to get picked up from Rix, and now they're going to start to go through Dragon all the way over towards the A site, so it's looking like an A execution from Splyce. They're going to be lining up some smokes momentarily, I imagine. But Mixwell, he's going to be hard to deal with.
Patient angles being held here. Arya steps into it, and that'll cost him. The headshot from Mixwell connects. Could be a second as well, but that one goes astray. Semphis, meanwhile, gets dangerously close to the bottom of Balk, so Mixwell might get overwhelmed here, and he will. Great headshot off of the AK, keeping the eyes towards Hayes. He is able to grill one kill, but he is down as well. Tarek with a trade frag coming in from the Balk has been dealt with. Rush 1v2, and right now, he only has that CZ to play off of.
He will pick up an M4, 11 bullets. Gonna have to reload momentarily, or he's just gonna peek with the 11. He will. Spray under Rix, down to 77. Roka holds the up and holds the angle, but he peeks onto the CZ rush. It takes so long to pull out the CZ, and that's kind of Rix's blessing as he misses a couple shots. We'll land them eventually, as he'll pick up the up and pick up the round for Splyce. And one thing Splyce didn't have that execution, which I'm surprised. They ended up executing when they still had, I think, 2 to 3 smokes left and a molly. A lot of times in these executions, you'll see a molly get thrown behind back APC. There's a smoke you can throw safely from long A to balcony. And I'm surprised we didn't see that, because that would have been safety from the initial pick.
That is a very good point. Could have kept himself up. Either way, Splyce dodged the hard reset and leave OpTic deflated on only some pistols. Double USP, triple P2 Fitty, and a headshot for Arya to get this ball rolling.
One way to get it started. I mean, you kind of have to peek for info here. Now Fly's going to get boosted in corner. I mean, it's a stack for OpTic Gaming. They're hoping Splyce send at least one member there for info, maybe to gain a little bit of map control. A little bit of a miss molly from Splyce, but hey, no big deal. No one's going to take any damage from it. So Splyce just playing it safe, waiting for pushes from OpTic. None will occur. I think they're going to go down drop, which is a scary prospect against pistols. Now, if OpTic ended up having some players playing some tight angles here, pistols may reign supreme, but good cleaning from the utility. They molly, they nade, they make sure if there were pistols there, they'd be heavily tagged. Now it looks like OpTic are kind of, the gig's up.
Rush makes a bit of a ruckus outside of the windowsill, so he could have been heard here. It is going to be the 2-man flank, actually, between Mixwell and Hazed, but neither player currently checking the drop-down, where Rix actually exposes himself. Rix gets tagged in the ankles. He knows where Mixwell is now, and that's an easy headshot to find. Hazed reveals himself, and the bomb has been planted. So Splyce at this point have no excuse to lose a player. Unless Rush could get aggressive here towards Semphis, but Semphis quells the double threat, and Splyce will take themselves 3. So this is definitely a reinvigorated Splyce in comparison to Mirage. Because still a very long time Seaside before we get to the win, but at least it's a tied game. We had that very convincing victory for OpTic and the pistol, and I was so worried that they were just going to run away with it. But clearly they're going to have to put in some work.
Yeah, we have a ball game on our hands. Speaking of ball games, the Jays aren't doing so good this year. I don't know if you're a Jays fan, but I'm kind of upset about it. All our Canadian teams kind of suck, which makes me sad. But that's why we have Canadian Counter-Strike. We have that to cheer on. As this buy from OpTic will include a FAMAS, it will include a Mag 7, Roka. Directional sound. If you're wondering why he's looking into the wall, he's not only going to avoid some flashes that way, but you can hear more. It's kind of like the way your ears work. You hear things better the way you're looking towards the sound than behind you. As it is 3-3, utility drop from Hayes, gonna peek on the back of the flash as Rush and E-Box smokes it off and is just gonna try to hold for some jiggle peeks, but a lot of plat pressure given from OpTic so far.
Very difficult as a CT on Cobblestone to hold late if you're going to use your utility right away. But then again, you have to use that utility to counter any early aggression. That might be a one-way smoke from Rush. Yeah, it is. Nicely done. Perfect utility usage. So they use the Molotov to ensure that there is no Rush, and then they use Rush himself to boost up for that entry frag. So 2-layered assault there in the drop down, and we can see Splyce responding with not only a kill, but a whole bunch of mollies. Roka is going to be rounding out the platform, trying to clear the B-bomb site, and it's actually quite open here. OpTic, having played their people into the drop down, are going to have no defenders to actually stop this bomb. Unless Hayes gets hyper aggressive, but it is one frag for Roka as he takes Nap off of the rocks, sprays onto Rush, and Hayes will swing it back to the 1v1. Semphis gets it done, and Splyce will take the lead.
And Affly actually got an assist on Hayes' death, so that was significant damage given to Hayes from his teammate. If that doesn't happen, maybe he has a chance to win that 1v1 instead. Splyce will go ahead and pull the lead their way, 4-3, get the up, continue to bolster that economy that's in Arya's pockets. They did have to rebind 4 players, but a round win's a round win, and it's going to be another round where OpTic going to be on these upgraded pistols. Now Affly a little more cash in his teammates, will get the armor, couple nades out, but Splyce, we've seen how safe they like to play it on these anti-ecos. They're very passive. Drop room gets cleared with enough utility to make anyone die, if not fall out of that room, as Roka's just going to be alone towards Plat, so a very similar setup to their other eco rounds. That went relatively smoothly for them.
Again, we're going to find Splyce just going back to a more passive setup. Frag Grenade deals some damage onto Rix, chips him for a 5th. They're trying to use that op of Arya over towards the A site to penalize any aggression, but OpTic haven't really shown anything at all towards the A site. Again, it is just the 4-man stack at B. They're hoping that Splyce just kind of overconfidently execute into the B bomb site, but I feel like Splyce on the T side of Cobblestone are a little more well-prepared than that. So they do go for the late execution back to A. They're going to catch the OpTic players mid-rotation. Hayes down for the count already. Rush has been spotted and also toppled. Roka takes the frag. Bomb plant to ensue, and a 3v5 left to clean up for Splyce.
Maxwell spotted and dealt with. Affly still very convinced there may be a drop room presence here, as Tarek's going to be playing the long A game, trying to get at least a rifle for his issues, as Affly is going to kind of pick up on the same game now. He's hoping someone from Splyce will push him, get a P250, one tap, get a gun and get out of here, but there's a player to his left. Not going to fully check it. Semphis spots him, as Tarek is just hoping Arya will push up with the op. And he may do it actually without a teammate. Now, I imagine Arya is going to call for someone to come with him. Yeah, he is just going to fall off towards mid, so that's a good call. He feels a little awkward. He feels something's going on from OpTic, and he's right in assuming so.
Tarek's still given the duel, however, and he is able to catch out Ronnie, but Drone will trade it back. So Splyce to the 2-point lead. They move forward with 4 weapons, and none are stolen away by OpTic. But here it is, Seaside. We got to see that heavy double op presence on Mirage, and it just so easily secured them that CT side. Can they do it yet again? That'll be the question. They have bought it for the first time now on Cobble here in the 9th round. They're down by 2. Arya's got an op of his own. Can Mixwell find the pick?
That smoke and the rock just covering Drone there, so he won't be able to find the opener. As you're right, double ops. Arya has his own. Drone just trying to wait for someone to peek into it, because Mixwell's just going to sit and continue to hold the mid double door. Semphis wants to peek towards Plat. Broken wall smoke. We'll keep Tarek at bay for now with that secondary op. As you can see how aggressive Hayes is pushed up towards long. Now the only support he has is Mixwell, as Semphis will peek, and Tarek takes the wide swing on the side of that smoke. He thought he was safe. Ended up being a false sense of security, as Drone's going to push up, may catch Hayes down the corner. No, Hayes has done a nice job of not getting caught out towards long A. As Mixwell's holding for the repeak. Hayes has some utility to be thrown this way. Good nade, it's very chunky. Arya's down at 49. But Mixwell has to be careful of how he moves here.
I love this position from Hayes. The committed angle that you really cannot get away from, but if you can catch the T's turn, then you can line them up and knock them down, and he will find one. Gets the assist onto Arya's. Rush will take the frag. Roka's swapping to the sidearm, gets denied by Mixwell, so it is just Rick standing, and not for long. OpTic Gaming. They're able to keep both of those ops up. They had some impact in the round, but great positioning from the entirety of the defense there to just lock Splyce out of that A-bomb site. I think OpTic are starting to get a read towards OpTic's late A play, because if there is no early B play, then they just don't go at all. Splyce maybe having to change up their timing now that OpTic can contest it.
Looking at Splyce's cash, they may even, I think they're going to be able to muster a buy next round too, even if they lose this. A couple players will be broke, but they do have a fair chunk of change on 3 members. As Tarek goes for the opening pick, the smoke from Splyce will make that peak pretty much impossible as he gets tagged down to 48. Drone jumps out, spots Rush, can't win it with the help of Tarek towards Pizza. Or no, Tarek's in Chicken Coop, excuse me. They're just locking this down completely. Tarek has 2. And he wide swings for the third, even through the box. As Splyce go for plat control, they try to jump out. A very ballsy play, but a nice hold from OpTic Gaming. They weren't aggressive towards plat. Tark went and peeked for info at the beginning, took enough shots to call it to his teammates, fell back safely to chicken coop. And that fly, in conjunction with the player in E-Box, just had an easy shooting range there. There was barely any utility thrown over from Splyce. It was a very quick, aim-heavy kind of strat there.
Which is going to be worrisome moving forward. If we see Splyce just try and fall back into this kind of like puggish style where they're not as well oiled of a machine, then I think that's where OpTic are just going to prevail based on individual skill. Splyce had a good run, those 5 rounds after the pistol, but it seems like OpTic have made enough changes in their defense to start to put that offense in question. And they do force into this one, Splyce, with the triple AK-47 double tech 9. Lots of grenades. I'd love to see them use them. But they've got to change up either the timing or the exact execution they rely on. Tarek, again, aggressively towards platforms, just trying to pluck a man from the back lines. But Splyce are not giving themselves up for free.
Just 2 tech 9s. Drone's already tagged down to 33. Nafly's just going to sit here in E-Box and just wait it out. And Tarek has the long plat angle, so very safe from OpTic Gaming. Nothing too risky across the board. Sometimes you'll see a little over-aggression from CTs, but Maxwell's done a nice job of not overstepping his welcome. Hayes has done a nice job towards A, not getting caught out. As it is going to be a drop play now. Semphis dropping with the sound of the nade. They may have heard him drop. They definitely hear him now as he will spot Hayes. Hayes and Rush together in conjunction. Will be able to clean up 2 as Rix is only able to net 1. Roka with the bomb now are pushing up towards mid. Arya and Roka, and they're just going to swing. Hayes before the smoke pops. Mixwell from long. And that's one way to lock down a site.
Yeah, again, we find OpTic just kind of relying on that committed A-site defender over towards cannons or stables, and then also using Hayes to just rotate within connectors. So earlier on in the defense, we saw much more of a B setup from OpTic, and again, they have figured out Splyce by transitioning 2 players to A, one of which just fully committed. Not to mention the addition of the double op setup has paid dividend, but it is just versus pistols in this one, and Mixwell's already found the frag. Pop flash thanks to the teammate. Lakes Hayes and Mix continue, and that's Hayes with 3 more as the T-side tumble. Sure enough, Semphis in a 1 versus 5 cannot get anything done. He had only the Deagle to play off of. It is OpTic Gaming now back in a substantial lead with a 2-point advantage and also 4 in a row. Splyce hitting a bit of a wall, but at least Seaside, they're back into the guns.
Yeah, at least they'll have the op back out on Arya. Drone has more than enough cash to get utility, armor, everything they need. Arya, granted, will have nothing, but at least he gets head armor. It's not a glass cannon. It won't bother him too much. Semphis will have 1 smoke. And there hasn't been too much diversity when it comes to Splyce's executions. We've seen the basic smoke connector run up mid-A with a couple players long. We've seen the Molly Nerd Room. As far as the execution goes towards B, we haven't really seen that whole wall of smokes yet. We've seen 1 broken wall smoke thrown. We've seen some flashes. Hasn't been too much diversity when it comes to their T side. Kind of what the issue was on Mirage. But there is still time for them to fix this out as Mixwell gets 1. Hayes a little upset that he died in that fashion. But hey, a 1-for-1 trade. Splyce have to be content with it. It's better than getting picked early, which kind of has been the tale so far.
Mixwell again just asserting himself with the op as he hits the triple shot. All 3 players down. Roka maybe can come up with something, but he is outnumbered, outgunned, and Mixwell does not find his ace. It would have been glorious, Keith, but it is not the case. Roka gonna smoke off connector. That could allow for him to try an entry towards the A site, but he's also got Nafly to deal with to his right side, and I don't think he's gonna predict this. He's keeping his eyes fixated towards the site, and as he jumps over the half wall, Nafly takes his head as a trophy and an op into the next one. Nope. He decides to swap it back. 1 AWP is enough for now. Mixwell's just gonna actually reinvest, so that's because Naf wants an AK.
Yeah, that is complete what it is. That's like,
Rude.
yo, Mixwell, you got enough cash for not? Of course you do. But he didn't even ask him. He just clicked tab and he's like, I want this AK, man. I don't care. So the AK, they have to rebuy double ops. They have enough cash to get full buys for the rest of this half. There's only 2 rounds anyway. So Mixwell's gonna go fishing towards mid. Splyce gonna take a half investment here. Of course, the typical upgraded pistols. Tech 9s are sweet. Some smokes, some flashes. And again, I guess it's just been lack of diversity when it comes to what Splyce have been up to. Their default worked early on, but now it's just been OpTic Gaming learning the patterns, learning the little nuances of Splyce, And there hasn't been much execution, as Nafly's going to throw this cheeky little smoke, actually.
A little bit of pop flashes going back and forth. Mixwell again with an opening frag, and he doubles down to Semphis. Roka with the Deegs finding at least some successes. Rix will do the same, but it is going to actually start to fall here for the CT side. OpTic down to 2 players. Tarek on a smidgen of health, and an op in the hands of Arya. He could, and he does. Big frags from him, gives that 6th round to Splyce, and gives them a chance to close this out with only the 1-point difference. 2 players surviving that one from Splyce, and that was off of pistols.
Jeez, just when I was about to say they were jumping out when they still had a couple smokes and flashes on 3 players. And then I'm like, I was confused, why didn't they throw them? But they wanted to get up close and personal with the pistols. And they certainly did. Arya with a nice collab at the end. That's what you like to see from Splyce with the pistols. Finally, an eco round will go their way. They get number 6, and you know what? An 8-7 is possible, as Mixwell will finally get punished for going for these mid peaks. Now that's the 3rd time almost in a row he's gone for that. So Splyce will be content to finally take him out of a round. Hazed is on the flip side of the coin, has gotten aggressive. As speaking of aggression, Rush jumps out balcony. He has 2. Tries to go for the 3rd as his teammate, though, will drop. This is just Semphis shutting down the aggression now. But OpTic still have Haze kind of in their back pocket coming up mid, and Tark through a smoke.
He walks out, so he hasn't seen any movement whatsoever from Stable's side. Seems like OpTic have a read. This one man's on site, but it's Rix's lurk out from the balk that will cost them. Tarek 1v2. Again, he only has that op, so he's just going to actually fixate towards the player on site. That's Arya standing above. 27 health is not much to work with, but he falls back down to cover. Rix trying to frag out the site as Tarek smokes it, and he's just going to try to hang on. Not enough time, as it will be Arya finding that frag and Splyce taking it to 7. So despite that 5-round spree from Splyce getting shut down by OpTic, they're still able to squeak away those final 2 rounds, and that gives us an incredibly close half. At least we've gotten a decent game so far in comparison to Mirage.
Oh, for sure. They trade 2 5-round runs. OpTic string 5, Splyce string 5, and then the last 2 go Splyce's way. So within 1 round, as close as you can get, and that's kind of what you like to see. And if you look at the numbers, I mean, Haze is playing well, Rush is playing well, Mixwell's hitting his shots. It was really that Hazed and Mixwell combo towards A that just shut down a lot of the plays from Splyce. From Mixwell getting those 4Ks with the op, from getting the opening picks, Haze doing a nice job of not getting caught out towards long A. Always falling back to site, and the rotations were always on point. Meanwhile, Splyce, a talking point is Rix and Semphis now playing well. Semphis playing well while he's calling is always nice to see. It always adds depth to the Splyce lineup. And now we do have a game where Splyce are comfortable on both sides of the map.
I think it's also worth pointing out that there were 3 1vx situations in that map, and that Splyce walk away with all of them. If we just take those 3 rounds and give that over to OpTic, then we're looking at an 11-4, not even taking into consideration the economic ramifications that could have left Splyce with even less. So it's a close half, but it did seem like OpTic were still in the driver's seat for the vast majority of it. We'll see if OpTic can continue their success with a pistol to kick things off. It will be Haze holding the bomb with a smoke double flash, and Semphis removed from platform the opening frag.
That's one way to start it off. As Drone gonna jump up on broken wall, spots no one there. Arya gonna try to get out of here. He has a smoke and a kit. He's going to get pinched, but it looks like it is a split to the A side. A typical drop and A push as Rix is all alone, waiting for rotations. Now, he doesn't pull the trigger here, so not going to be ready for his position, but he gets spotted. Gush to 19, cleaned up from Rush, as if Tark wanted to push through that smoke. You can tell he really wanted to go ahead through that. Instead, they'll double up with Glocks towards mid-ramp. Nafly will stay towards Stables. Hazed alone on site. And Splyce have yet to go back and pick up that kit, but they're still going to go for it.
They barely get out of the smokes, but Drone and Roka actually hit a couple headshots. Mixwell, well, he seals the deal. He's had enough. And OpTic will find their pistol. So rapid aggression towards that A site nets them the bomb for near free. Splyce with a last-ditch attempt to come back for the retake. Get a couple of kills, so maybe it looks close, but it really wasn't. That was OpTic asserting themselves yet again here in the opening round of the second half. So once you win both pistols, if you're able to convert that to the full 6 rounds, it's incredibly difficult to lose a game, especially once we already had that fantastic first half in general. So OpTic, par for the course already. Splyce have their work set out for them, but it's Naflight around the corner towards platform and duel off versus Roka. Roka has that single scout on the side of Splyce, everybody else the pistol arrows. Tarek finding 2 kills already as he pops the noggins here towards B. Looks for more, although he is dwindled down to 20, and he has to be extra cautious as Rix will take another frag. He is now sitting on the 3K, and we're back to a 2-on-2.
That's just sloppy that you push up there with the bomb and give Rix a chance. Now Hayes gets hurt dropping down. He has a MAC-10. Rix is ready for it, and he's got a 4K with a CZ. How many bullets does this man have left in his clip? He has 4 shots. So he's going to push in and pick up this MAC-10. He's 4 bullets away from the ace as Rush will spot drone. Nice, tapping him away. So Rix has to ace. The bomb is down. OpTic Gaming gets slaughtered by Rix all by himself. And now he is just going to sit in E-box. Just still only 4 bullets. He's trusting the CZ, and can you really blame him after he gets 4 with it? As Rush has to find a 3K, but there is time. As Rix is going to get a little impatient, takes the peek, spotted, and the long-range AK from Rush cleans it up. But if there's one thing Splyce did well there, is force so many rebuys.
That's just impatience from Rix.
Yeah.
You had already been sitting inside of drop down for, say, 30 seconds at that point. You could see, actually, the ambiguity from Rush. He keeps checking over towards Rock. He's worried about the long flank. So Rush has no clue where he is. Rush is hoping that Rix does exactly that. Offers himself on a silver platter. You can't take it away from him, though. The guy just got a 4K with a CZ. So he single-handedly held back the offense, dealt a lot of economic damage. But OpTic Gaming with 3 MAC-10s look to make that money back. Splyce going to be gambling with 5 players on a ramp just up in the corners, hoping for a lone OpTic player to walk into their deaths. But Nafly instead is going to keep an eye towards the flank, and the rest of OpTic will execute towards B. This is a freebie of a round for OpTic.
Yeah, this should be at a free 11, especially considering they send Mixwell down first with the MAC-10. The MAC-10s are going to be doing some clearing. Nafly about to have his hands full as he's just going to try to spray away with the MAC-10. Tag down heavily, good chunky nade. We'll do a little bit to Semphis, actually. I thought that would have dealt a bit more, as Mixwell now wants to get his piece of the cake, wants to try to make some of his own quick cash. Rix has been doing a nice job with these pistols, at least to deal some damage. Now, it is still flawless from OpTic. 2 players on 10 HP, 1 on 70. So we're going to be looking at 11-7. A buy now will come in from Splyce. The op, more importantly, will come out on Arya. We'll see where he's going to go with it. What's the play? We saw a lot of aggression from OpTic Gaming CT side on the ops. We saw Tark challenging Plat a fair bit of times, posting on angles towards Plat. And we saw Mixwell very aggressive towards A, from taking peek long A once in a blue moon, from danger peaks to just flat out mid peaks. So we'll see what the difference is going to be here from Arya.
Mixwell is just going to go flashing his way through that, and it actually pans out. He's able to drop the Opper, so with Rix trading frags, that keeps Rix committed at the A site. Semphis is going to get wind of this drop to A play, though, as he does catch out Naf. But Hayes, from afar, despite the MAC-10, pops the head of Rix and puts this back to the 3v3 with Splyce on the opposite site. They're trying to get in from connector, but the utility can so easily hold off these chokes. And while Tarek will be the insurance policy on that op, it's going to be Rush who plants the bomb.
That was a big miss Molly, actually, towards balcony, but it doesn't matter. It's Tark finds Semphis peeking, and it's all on drone with an M4. No head armor. Gush down to 16, and Rush will hit the last final domer, as it is going to be 12-7. Splyce. I mean, the MAC-10s, what can you really do? They run down drop. They just pinch your players on a site, and they just pop you. And now that's 12-7. Splyce going to have to take a half investment here, as OpTic Gaming start to pull the tug of rope their way, really. I mean, this is 4 in a row now. Look at the money they've built up from those SMGs. It's going to take a few rounds strung together from Splyce to break it. And this is possibly going to be one of their last ecos. If it goes 13-7, you're going to think Splyce are going to keep buying until it goes their way.
Eric gets a frag kill onto drone, so it bounces perfectly downwards onto his feet and blows him to smithereens. Splyce still hanging on with 4 players at this B-bomb site, but very similarly to what we saw in the 3rd round on their CT side, they're just gambling by all players being on one side of the map. Certainly they have a bit more firepower and a bit more armor as well, but they are so outgunned at this point, and OpTic seem to outclass them. They've got that bomb for OpTic just rotating back through these side stairs, and again, there's no commitment here. OpTic content with waiting for Splyce to peek. Kind of what Rix did in that clutch attempt. They're hoping for exactly that here and now.
Semphis is going to be peeking this. Makes a sound cue now. Rush knows exactly where he is. That Molly is going to try to get him out of position. As he falls back, he will be taken care of, but a good trade from Roka. A gush on to Rush, so a kill and a dink coming in. As Rush has to be careful. He needs some assistance here. Now, that's an AK on the floor. If Rush decides to fall off, that Splyce can pick up. Although, Rush is just going to play it safe. He'll give them the AK. Actually, I think he's going to try to contest it. You know, one isn't bad. Now, giving up 2 may hurt. As he is just going to get out of there. So, Splyce will get an AK out of it. OpTic Gaming will be on 13, though.
Down goes Nafly. Because Rix does have that one AK, the Catalyst rifle for Splyce. Arya's going to go try to retrieve that weapon, but he's very wary of OpTic's presence, and he should be. Rush already holding on to the angle. Hazed hunting towards the B site as well, just trying to find something more. OpTic do not want Splyce hanging on to these weapons. Down goes one. Rick swinging it back with a kill of his own. He actually takes the head of Hayes, so it is just Tarek on the sidearm trying to deal 18 damage. Rix swaps to the CZ, and that is where he's done for. So OpTic finding another round just like they should be. Losing quite a few bodies in that one, considering the investment, but it was they who were going on the hunt. They wanted to ensure that nobody survived, and they got that done. Now, in the first half C side, I kind of mentioned how Splyce were on the T side and that it was up to them to really set the pace, and we saw that. We saw OpTic just having to wait when Splyce decided to buy time, and OpTic not really being able to go for aggressive plays. But now that it's them on the T side, we have seen sheer aggression. We have seen a play much more similar to what was on Mirage, where they again asserted themselves through proper pacing. So I think that OpTic are now back into gear. They had to deal with a rocky start of that first half where Splyce get 5 in a row, but this could be it. We shall see. It is Splyce on the big buy with the double op setup ready to go.
Roka's gonna need a nade. He hears these players jumping out. They're all over the sidewalk, and he won't get a single one. Shut down from Tarek. Xemphis is gonna do his best, but he only gets one. Immediately traded from Tarek. That's his double entry. As Drone is still living back sight. Tarek's gonna try to find a third, but with the help of Hayes, they'll clean it up. But this could be the play from Arya, creeping just as the smokes dissipate. He pushes the player planning, finds a frag, and again, immediate trades from OpTic Gaming. No hesitation. As Rix gets spotted, he's gonna get double peeked, and down he will fall to Hayes. OpTic Gaming get 14. Splyce's money is going to be in the dumpsters. Even with max loss, you can see they just don't have enough to really muster a comfortable buy. Yes, you can go head armor M4s, but you'll have no utility. I think Splyce are going to play for OT at this point. Nope, they're going to go in. It looks like Xemphis has made the call, go all in with pistols. So some players will still have more cash than others. Rix and Arya sitting on 2K. Now that actually bothers me. Does that bother you as much as it bothers me?
I think at least this way with the round loss bonus moving forward, they might actually still be able to get an op on someone. It's kind of weird, but at the same time, it's not all in on this one. So we'll see if it works out. We'll see if we can criticize it. But I see where you're coming from, Cecil.
Yeah, you know, it's just the little things. I get it, because Arya's now going to get the op next round if he wishes. Yeah. And if Rix wants to be that double operator, you know, that's a possibility. But hey, we'll see what they do with it. As Mixwell has some missed shots, some volley, forces him actually into those peaks. So he gets 1 for his life. I mean, there was a chance for 2 there, but not going to transpire. Tarek's going to continue to hold for this, a deep nade. And it looks like OpTic Gaming are just going to slowly work their way towards B. Now, Roka is here. He's tagged down to 47. So is Drone and Drop, but they're just UMPs to try to hold plat. And the rotations are nowhere near.
Ooh, Nafly catches Roka on his attempt to gain some info. Instead, he gains a death. Rush Tarek and Naf on the entry. Hayes will bring up the bomb from behind. Of course, this is Splyce currently flanking with 2 players, and Drone just trying to stay alive. He's going to hear the confirmation of the plant. The entirety of the CTs on the retake, one of which already lit, one of which already dead. So Arya's going to be the next to fall. Nafly keeps up the aggression. Drone this entire time has still just been sitting in drop, and he's not been afforded an exit. Somebody from OpTic at any moment has been watching this doorway, occasionally spamming shots. Now he's been spotted as well as he tries to fall away, but there's players quick at his heels. That's Rush up close, jumping, and it costs him. Drone going to continue his exit, but the players just keep coming, and they do not want him to get away.
Drone would love an AK, though. Being just find hazed here. But no, Nafly's going to peek from mid. Now Drone's kind of in a rough spot. He's going to run back towards balcony. Just trying to turtle it up, hoping Tark jumps over. But no, Hayes with a Glock is going to finish him at the end. So 15-7. And yeah, Arya picks up the op. Rix will get a full buy. Now Roka's going to be a little low. Semphis will be low in the cash department. So it is that double op. That's exactly what the call was. Interesting that Rix is the one to go for it. Perhaps came down to a cash thing when they went for that buy in the previous round of who's got the most and can afford to go for armor and pistol and still get the op. So 2 M4s, no mollies, 2 smokes and a flash. This is as bare bones as it gets. But maybe the double ops is the difference maker.
I mean, that's what they were saving for. Nice enough. Splyce to the 5 versus 3. OpTic obviously with 8 rounds of a buffer to really close things out. They're not stressing whatsoever at this point. They still have 3 players up. Heavy firepower as well between these 3. And not to mention the utility they hang on to. So if everybody were to just kind of group up as a unit, execute together, they might still be able to puncture into a bomb site, plant the bomb, and then who knows in the after plant. I mean, again, you've already alluded to the lackluster utility here for Splyce, not to mention no presence of a kit. So if OpTic can take a bomb site, that would be perfect and still leaves them a chance to win this round. Although, Splyce should never throw this kind of an advantage away.
Yeah, this is something that should not get tossed out. Now, it comes down as if they heard Mixwell jump down in towards E-Box. There was nades, there was bullets being fired, and there was a molly. Now, based on Semphis not moving, and Drone looking towards site, I don't think they are aware of his positioning. Now, that's a good smoke. Now they know with Mixwell throwing that smoke to try to work his way out. There's a gap in it. Easy shot for Rix. Rush may get 1, but numbers are still here from Splyce. Rix missing that one, so all of a sudden, it's just a one-man advantage for Splyce. 25 seconds. Rush is making some space. He's going to jump out through the smoke. And he's actually allowed to get out as Nafly's going to find his second. Looking for it, and he'll get the third, and all of a sudden, that just spins on his head. As Rush and Nafly will work together to clean up those frags. 16-7, and that will send Splyce out of the tournament.
Done. A 3 versus 5 clutch out on that round. Just insult to injury. I'm very happy that we at least got to see that one successful half from Splyce because it was a 16-2 stomp on Mirage, and they don't get a single victorious round on the CT side of Cobble, despite it being their pick. Again, they at least had that little spree of 5, but that's really all we saw from Splyce. Not much of a contender whatsoever. Unfortunately, they have fallen. So another team bites the dust here at the CyberPower Extreme Series. Splyce joining the teams knocked down, and OpTic will move forward to the grand finals, which will be, of course, later tonight after our other semifinal game. That semifinal will feature Misfits versus Ghost Gaming. But it's not scheduled for a while, Seaside, seeing as this game went incredibly quickly. It is going to be 1 full hour until the start of the next match. That is, again, a single hour until the next game, which means that you guys have 60 minutes, and it only takes 1 to enter the cyberpowerpc.sevo.com/giveaway. You guys can win yourself some solid-state drives, video cards, and a whole bunch of jazz. But while you're on the cyberpowerpc.sevo.com website, you can replace the giveaway with predictions and actually compete in our prediction contest. That will give you guys a chance to win some pretty sweet CyberPower PC gaming jerseys so that you can look all cool and whatnot in front of your friends. But also, of course, mechanical keyboards, and more importantly, bragging rights. So head on over there, guys, spend your time wisely, and we will see you in 1 hour for Misfits versus Ghost.